Nick the Quick, and we have, this show is probably one of the most unusual we will ever do. And I have my guys here, Glenn and Dean, and Dino's going to start off with the Patriots. And, of course, Glenn's going to finish up with the greatest call of all time, as Ali would say. Dino?
Yeah, that was pretty much hand-gifted from the Seattle coaching staff right over to the Patriots. Right
to the Patriots. So the Patriots get their fourth.
Yes.
Do you agree with the, you say they come back 10 points? What's the deal on this? What was your take on the Patriots?
Well, I mean, they actually got off to a good start, and then they gave up that touchdown late in the first half to Chris Matthews to tie the game at the half, and they gave Seattle momentum, and then Seattle dominated the third quarter. But then in the fourth quarter, Seattle's offense got stuck in the mud, as they say, and then Seattle's defense couldn't stop Brady in the fourth quarter.
Now, as Brady goes down, this is his fourth. Montana has 4. Bradshaw has
Correct.
4. Where do you move him in the quarterback status?
He's up there, obviously. Now, people are going to say, obviously, Montana and Bradshaw never lost when they got there, so that's the one negative that Brady has. But in terms of, Super Bowl history, yeah, he's right there with them.
Now, going into that game, Brady said, I remember the quotes before the game, he says, we have a very good game plan. What do you think that meant?
Well, meaning they, I guess, studied Seattle's film on Seattle and thought they could play well with the game plan that was given to them.
You know what I thought they did? I thought they took a page out of Bill Parcells of eating up clock. Maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, well, for the most part, it was mostly the passing game. Julian Edelman was big for the Patriots in that game. So it was a short passing game, I thought, that helped out because they stayed away from Sherman. Really, they threw to him, I think, like twice the whole game. And I thought the injury to Lane hurt, that interception that Brady threw early on. That he broke his arm, I think, on the interception when he got tackled out of bounds. So that definitely hurt the Seahawks, and then the Patriots went after his replacement after that.
What did you think of the Gronk? Did he have a good game?
Yeah, he was fine. Let me look at his final totals here if I can get to the receiving. Receiving is Gronk had 6 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. And Brady did a good job on the touchdown pass because he saw he was lined up with a linebacker on the outside, and Gronk's going to beat a slow linebacker every time.
Now, what position does he play, Gronkowski?
Tight end.
Tight end.
Yep.
And how about the guy with the Packers that reminds me of him? Is he a wideout or is he?
Jordy Nelson. He's a wideout. He's a wide receiver.
He's a wideout.
Yes.
But he reminds me of him
much
a whole
more
lot.
speed. Much more speed than Gronkowski, obviously.
I thought that the Pats played a great game, but they couldn't get their running going. What do you say about that?
Yeah, that's true. They were not going to be able to run like they did against the Colts. That was for sure. So they had to rely on Brady, and that's not a bad option to have.
And one of the things that a lot of the announcers said was that Belichick, Mr. Genius, is going to make Wilson beat him.
Yeah, but as it turned out, especially late in the game, Marshawn Lynch, he got over 100 yards and a touchdown. It was actually a pretty good game for Lynch, so the Patriots didn't totally stop the running game. But, yeah, they tried to make Wilson beat him, especially early on. If you remember, he couldn't even complete a pass in the first quarter. So it was slow going for the Seahawks to start the game.
But one thing I liked about this Super Bowl was that we finally had something that resembled a good game. Especially
dramatic at the end of the game. The Scott Norwood miss for Buffalo. That's the thing that comes out, I think, of in the last seconds of a Super Bowl. And Rams-Titans, the tackle, and good job, the tackle at the 1-yard line on Dyson by the Rams to preserve the win. And I guess the Giants beating the Patriots when they snapped their undefeated year when Burris caught the touchdown pass in the end zone.
Well, here's the deal. The Patriots now, what do you call them? The team of what? The 90s?
Well, 2000s. They won 3 Super Bowls in the decade of the 2000s, but obviously this is a new decade now. So, but no, it's been consistent. As long as Brady's still healthy and can play the game, man, they're always going to be tough to beat.
Now, a lot of people, analysts, feel he's going to play 5 more years.
Well, he wants to play till he's 45, but somebody brought up, I forget where I heard this, it's not actually, maybe not the physical part, it's the mental part. He's got to prepare every year to get ready to play 16 games. And, he's going to be 38 next year. So, really, I think he's got about the way he's physically, I think he's got about 3 good years left.
Now, he was a guy that wasn't drafted high, was he?
Yeah, he's a 6th-round pick. No, he was not drafted high.
Yeah, but I know he was at Michigan.
And he was a backup to Drew Henson. So that's why he did not go real high. So, and he played a little bit at Michigan, but he wasn't really the starter there.
Oh, okay. So, and then he backed up who with the Patriots?
Drew Bledsoe.
Drew Bledsoe, right?
And the infamous Mo Lewis hit on Drew Bledsoe back in 2001 pretty much got Tom Brady going, the Jets linebacker, who hit Bledsoe right on the sideline, knocked him out of the game, and then from there on, Brady pretty much was the quarterback.
I have something to tell you guys. This is going to get off of Seattle and the Patriots, but I don't know if you saw that 60 Minutes of Sports this month. They had the team, the McMahon team of the Bears.
Yes. Okay.
You know many guys on that team are like really messed up?
Oh, yeah, a few guys. I know McMahon is, yeah. And who else? Doerson passed away, I think. Dave Doerson.
But the Fridge?
Yeah, he was in bad shape.
His legs, he can't even walk.
And unfortunately, Walter Payton had a disease.
He had
cancer,
this disease,
right?
Yeah, and
liver cancer, I think.
There's like 6 or 7 of them, and of course Ditka's pushing real hard.
Oh yeah.
To get money for these guys.
Yes, he is. He's been a big advocate for that.
And I mean, you got to watch this and see it because McMahon, of all the guys that was said Flair and everything, he's now losing memory and the whole thing.
He took that dirty hit from that Packer. I forget who it was on a Monday night where he picked him up and slammed him to the ground. I don't know if you remember that play.
Yeah, they showed it.
That might have been the one that got him triggered with that, unfortunately. And that was, I don't know, he should have been suspended for the rest of the year. I forget how many. He must have been fined and suspended. I don't know what it was, but he should have been suspended for the year at least.
Now, they were really upset, Packer players like Edelman and them, at Steve Young.
Oh, Patriot players, you mean?
Patriot, yeah. Because he said something about them after the Kansas City loss, that they're washed up and done.
I think Trent Dilfer did too, saying they were done. And even I was beginning to wonder because I guess Kansas City, it depends on the matchup. Kansas City has a great defensive line and a great running game. So, if you have those 2 ingredients, you can beat the Patriots. And I guess it was just an overblown win for the Chiefs. And it was, as it turned out, you have to have a team like that to beat the Patriots, and the Seahawks almost didn't. Obviously, a lot of people argue they should have.
Well, here's the deal. The Chiefs that week beat them like 42-14.
Yes,
they really crushed them.
I think it's 41-14. It's just about,
And like all the shows afterwards of the Super Bowl, like Edelman was all over Steve Young.
Yes.
And then he comes on and says, well, I have to say something, you know what I mean? Okay. But they had them all washed up, as basically both teams after 6 games were just about 500.
Yeah, and the Patriots, as usually they do in the second half of the season, get it together.
And of course, well, next year you got the new coach for the Jets.
Yeah, Todd
your
Bowles.
team.
Mm-hmm.
And how many times that Belichick went against Rex? And I mean, were those games close, were they?
Certain times they were. I mean, obviously, Rex is always going to have that big playoff win in New England back in January of 2011. That was his feather in the cap, I guess. That was probably the second-best Jet victory of all time. So
Really?
Yeah, the Super Bowl III, obviously, is the first.
Other than the Joe Namath?
Yeah, that's probably their second biggest win in franchise history, I would say.
Okay, so you mean at that time the Patriots were rolling, Brady was having a good year, and
yes. They went in and beat them 28-21.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's when Sanchez was the quarterback,
Sanchez was the quarterback. Jets had a good team that year. They had, obviously, Cromartie and Revis in the defensive backfield. They had Santonio Holmes. They added him as a wide receiver, and a good running game, too.
Now, where do you see the Patriots for next year? Do you see them reloading, rebuilding, what?
It's going to depend on if their offensive line gets better and whether they keep Revis, because Revis, he has a 2-year deal option for the Patriots this year. I don't know if they're going to keep him at $20 million for this cap. We'll see. They may renegotiate. If they renegotiate, he stays with the Patriots, or they could extend him to get his cap number lower, but we'll see what the Patriots do. So defensively they were better this year. That's why they played well. They were having problems in their defensive backfield. That was the reason why they had struggled in the playoffs.
What does that mean, cap? That always confuses me.
Each team is only allowed to spend a certain amount of money. I think it's $130 million. It might go up next year, as a matter of fact, because of the revenues. So nobody can spend more than $130 million, I believe it is.
And the Patriots are they?
They usually try to keep it low, but they got to keep some flexibility to add more players.
Because a guy like Brady, he's a lot like Michael Jordan. He'll keep his salary down.
Yeah, they'll try. He obviously wants to get paid, be one of the highest paid quarterbacks, but yet he still wants to be flexible where they can sign other players.
Well, I know that he does that so he can keep his line.
Yes,
he has.
And receivers
Belichick
too,
take care, the line and receivers, right?
Yes, especially he was upset. Welker went to Denver, and the Patriots didn't match the contract, but he wound up as Edelman is this check down guy. I guess it would be a go-to guy in terms of receiver.
I thought Edelman had a great, great second half of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, plus he runs kickoffs, right?
Yes.
He's fast, and he had a nice job, and they had the other receiver. What's their other receiver's name?
LaFell.
He got one, and Kronkin, and the other guy that they brought in that they were waiting to produce, and he did a good job this year. Amendola.
Yeah.
They got him from where? The Cardinals?
I got him from the Rams, I believe it was.
The Rams? Okay. And so you see the Pats holding still next year.
Yeah.
And still in the mix.
Yes. As long as Brady's still behind center, they'll always have a chance.
Now, who did you pick at the beginning of the year? Because I always forget.
I had Denver, New Orleans.
Denver, New Orleans.
And obviously with the Manning injury late in the season, that killed them.
And
New Orleans' problem was they didn't win at home. They went 3-5 at home. They got their first 3 home wins and lost their last 5 home games, and I killed them. And I knew they were in a division that was pretty weak. As it turned out, Carolina won with an under 500 record. So pretty much the Saints went 6-2 or 7-1 at home. They would have won the division.
And that division was one of the first times ever that a team got in under 500?
Yeah, Seattle, believe it or not, I think 3 or 4 years ago, with Pete Carroll's, I think, first year, went 7-9 and won the division.
How many more years do you think Manning has?
Boy, if he doesn't have his injury fixed, that might be it for him. I think only one more. If he's healthy, one more year. If he's not, then that's it.
And he's close to 40 or
38 or 39 next year.
Okay, he and Brady are about the same age.
Yes.
But I think his arm is going Manning's. I didn't think he could throw the zip ball.
Yeah, if you saw in that Colt game, the playoff game, he had no zip on his throws. He had sort of guide his throws.
But it seems like Brady still has the zip. He's still
better arm strength.
And I think that Brady has not gotten his beat up as much as Manning.
No, I think that's right. Yes.
Because he really only had one injury about 5 or 6 years ago, the knee, remember?
Yes.
He went down for the whole season.
First game of the year. Yep.
Right. But I think that he has had a career that has been pretty injury-free.
Yes.
And basically, I think that's your key, isn't it?
Yes, got to keep your franchise quarterback healthy. No question about it.
Got to keep that guy healthy. So who the Jets going to have this year, man?
In terms of what, quarterback? Or?
Yeah.
Boy, they could try to keep Geno one more year. Otherwise, we'll see if Sam Bradford becomes available over the Rams. He's hurt. We'll see if the Rams keep him. But other than that, it could be Mariota or Winston in the draft. We'll see.
I think that Winston's going to go first, and I think that you guys are going to get Mariota.
All right. We'll see if he's still on the board by then.
Okay. Glenn's going to come in now, gang, and he's going to handle Seattle and the team that had the greatest play of all times with the score. What was the score with that big play with about 21 seconds to go?
Let's see. Well, they had a second goal if they won, and they decided to go spread, and they threw a slant in the end zone, and Butler picks it off. It was a good read by him. He anticipated the route, and he just picked it off, and the Patriots won the Super Bowl. So
I have to tell you, I met a guy the other day. He said that one of his friends was in a $500 pool, and if Seattle scored, he would win $20,000. He was going to go out and shoot Carroll. He didn't. What did you think of that call?
Unreal. He had the best running back in football. And he had gained 4 yards before that, first and goal at the 5, and he got tackled at the 1. You give it to him again. He was in beast mode, as they say, and I think he would have powered in for the touchdown. I mean, he had 3 opportunities to get into the end zone. if you're going to pass it, go with either run-pass option with Russell Wilson or throw a fade pattern in the back of the end zone, and they didn't do that.
Now, here's a guy, the guy that had the most yardage received for Seattle that day was a guy that didn't catch a pass all year.
No, Chris Matthews, you're right. And his notoriety is he's the one who recovered that onside kick against Green Bay.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was the guy.
He was the guy the week before?
Yeah.
All right, so and he was working in a shoe store?
Yeah, exactly. Sort of like Kurt Warner did. Remember, he was stocking groceries, I guess, before he got the call to the NFL.
That's amazing. And the guy, he gets the first big catch of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And did he have that deep ball, too? Where it will fall on the ground?
Was that Curse? I think
that was Curse? Okay.
Yeah, and you can see Tom Brady on the sideline just shaking his head thinking, oh, this is like Plaxico Burress all over again.
He goes, I can't believe this. He couldn't believe, he knew they were done.
Yeah. Excuse me, the Tyree play actually more than the Burress play, excuse me.
Oh, Tyree on the head.
Yeah, and then he saw that play, he's like, not again.
Oh, man, he was just like, he was done on the sideline. And, I mean, he just knew that this was it. And how about this? Wilson doesn't have a completed pass in the first half for about the first, almost, how many minutes are in a quarter?
15, yeah. He definitely didn't have a completion in the first quarter. And then finally in the second quarter, that's when things started to open up, and you saw Chris Matthews go wild. Patriots had to adjust. They had to get a bigger person in the secondary to cover Matthews because of his size. And he was, for all intents and purposes, he was sort of limited in the second half. He got his moments, but not like he did in the first half.
Well, did Matthews play in the league before?
I don't think so. Well, if it was on special teams. He was not the starter.
Mm-hmm.
So Carroll decided to put him out there.
That's amazing, right?
It is. It really is.
Really amazing. Now, what did you think of the Beast game?
I thought he's good. I thought he's decent. As I said, I probably should have gotten the carry on second and goal, but you can tell he had some tough runs there in the game and continued Seattle's drives. And I think they stabilized things once Marshawn Lynch ran the ball well.
You know who amazes me? Russell Wilson amazes me. You know, that guy's only 5'10".
I know.
And he says he grows his hair long, so to be close to 6 foot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think it is with him? What's his?
He finds the way to win games like he did against Green Bay. He is intangible. He had it in college, and he's brought it to the NFL. And as I said, he runs a good, read option with Marshawn Lynch, and he can find receivers downfield if they decide not to, give the ball off to Lynch, maybe we'll play action or roll out. So he finds ways on offense to move the football.
Now, believe it or not, I thought Seattle played a very good game defensively, and we always talk about the defense. When you consider the whole backfield was banged up.
Yes, I mean, you saw these injuries. Chancellor got hurt the Friday, last practice on Friday. He hurt his knee. It was worse than we thought. Obviously, Sherman's rumors that he might need Tommy John surgery with that elbow. Lane got hurt with a broken arm or broken wrist when he had the interception return. So they were all banged up in the secondary. Also, another key was Averill, I think, for Seattle got hurt on the defensive line. So it really hurt their defensive line to try to get Brady. And anytime you saw Brady step up in that pocket, you knew he was going to, complete the pass, and that's exactly what he did.
Well, because these guys, are so infamous for their defense, and so good. Seattle, I think, as I told you, that's the first time I've ever seen a team with defense that plays so well. And talking to Dino about the Bears, what was that, 89 or something?
85 Bears?
85 Bears. They had a phenomenal defense.
Oh, yeah, that was legendary.
Yeah, it was the 86 or something, right?
Yeah, they played in the 86 Super Bowl, yeah.
But, I mean, they had an 86 defense.
46 defense.
46?
46 defense.
This was Buddy
Ryan.
Buddy Ryan, and he had this. I mean, that defense was unbelievable.
It was, yeah. Richard Dent, the MVP.
They were coming all over.
Singletary.
Yeah.
Gary Fensick. I mean, Dave Durson.
And a lot of those guys, really are banged up now. But this Seattle defense was phenomenal and great. But I think for their injuries, they really played a great game.
They did. They hung in there. Obviously, Dean mentioned Edelman played a fantastic game, and it's just Seattle just got worn down in the fourth quarter. Everyone says, "Oh, how can you have a great defense and give up 14 points to New England?" First of all, it's Tom Brady. Second of all, you can tell all the injuries, especially in the secondary, that Seattle had to endure. So I think they got worn down a little bit.
Now, what is it with the Seattle didn't give up much on the ground.
No, they
shut
didn't.
blunt
But I
down.
think what happened was Brady had little flare passes to running backs. I think that's what really was the antidote to the running game. You know, he'll just throw a little screen pass to the running backs. You saw that a lot in that game. So I think that sort of, remedied the, running game for New England.
You know what that reminded me of? I don't know if you guys were too young. When Joe Namath with the Jets played the Colts, that's what he did. He threw these little passes. Matt Snell and all these guys just kept getting these little chunks of yardage.
George Sauer,
George Sauer, and it was like he didn't throw anything really deep. He just kept them off guard,
Yes.
And he controlled the ball. Now, what does Seattle do, Glenn, with this? I mean, they've been taking a pounding as we went to do our game, how many calls in and stuff. What do you think happens with a team franchise like that with this situation, with not scoring the touchdown and everybody thinks the worst call of all time?
Yeah, that's going to be a long off season for Seattle. I mean, a couple factors going into next season for Seattle is all the contracts now. They got to pay Marshawn Lynch. Eventually got to pay Russell Wilson. Eventually got to pay Richard Sherman. So, I mean, this is where, the contract situation for Seattle is going to be iffy. So I don't know who they're going to keep, who they're going to let go because of the salary cap. So next year might be, little questionable for the Seahawks.
So Sherman's up next year?
I believe so. Yeah,
so
it's not this year. I think it's the year after.
Okay. Well, could you see him going to a team like the Jets for defense?
Well, I mean, if the Jets they have enough on the salary cap, which they do. It's possible. I know Sherman, I guess, is a West Coast guy. He went to Stanford, but I mean, if Seattle could give him the right money, he'll stay there. So I think Seattle can target what players they need to sign, like Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, and Richard Sherman. I think those are the three cornerstone players. Maybe Cam Chancellor as well. So I think those are the guys right there that Seattle will have to target and sign.
I have a gut feeling, too, that after this happened to them, that they're going to group together and come back and want to prove to the world that play, crazy as it was, we're going to show you again.
It's possible, absolutely. Green Bay can say the same thing when they lost to Seattle. They had that game one. They got a lot to prove. Could be those two teams that play again in the NFC title game. So, it's going to be what direction Seattle going to take. Are they going to have a deflated year? No pun intended. Or are they going to, motivate themselves that, hey, we should have won this game and we're going to come back here and we're going to win it this time?
So, if
sort of like the Spurs, exactly. Good call, Dean.
Well, I think the Spurs are going to come back again. Believe it or not, as crazy as it looks right now, I think they might, when playoff time comes, I'm going to put my money on them. But think of this. Now, Wilson this year can go for a big contract? Is this the year he can?
I think so, yes. Because I think the rookie contract is up after this year. So, and if Russell Wilson wants to get the big contract, fine. Or is he going to, have his contract, down a little bit to sign other players? That's going to be the big question.
Well, we're here at Phil's. Phil
Houston.
I always go you for last name, and we got to bring this in. It fell over there with his baseball camp and his brothers. Todd Frazier just signed big.
He did. Yep, 2-year contract, avoided arbitration. So, good for him. And then after the 2 years, I believe he can be a free agent, and that's where he'll get the big bucks.
Well, he got $12 million.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's pretty good. $6 million a year. I can't complain about that.
You'll take it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I thought that it's really great for Todd, and each progression down the line, he's still young, right?
Yeah, and from what I heard, spring training hasn't started. I thought Reds might have a down year, but the way that experts are thinking, and Reds might have a bounce back year. We'll see, especially if Frazier plays well.
Now, what do you think the owner is thinking about Pete Carroll? Is he thinking about getting rid of him or keeping him?
No, I think he's going to stay. I think Carroll's done a great job in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, won it last year. And, who are you going to replace him with? I mean, that's going to be the big question. I mean, Carroll's done a great job there. Evidently, I guess there's a good relationship with the owner. So, and I was going to say, I don't know who they would replace. So I think he'll definitely be staying.
All right, here's the deal. I think Carroll is a great coach. I think he gets along with his players real well. He made one unusual call.
Yeah, more the offensive coordinator, but obviously he has to sign off on it, and he signed off on it. So.
But why do you think they did it? Why do you think they didn't give the ball to the greatest back in the league?
There wasn't a real good reason for it, like, maybe we're going to run it on 3rd and 4th down. You can't worry about 3rd and 4th down. You worry about 2nd down. So, I don't know, maybe they'll try to fool him. Maybe they'll try to outsmart Belichick, and sometimes you don't have to overthink to outsmart Belichick. Just do your job and, run the ball.
Yeah, just get it to the beast, and because the line pushes him in half the time. His line guys got him back at him, and he stopped, and then you see everybody moving,
He'll always fall forward, too. So, I mean, he's definitely a great power running back.
So you think they'll get him back, too?
Yes. As a matter of fact, they're talking contract right now, so I think he'll definitely be coming back.
So if they get him, Sherman, and Wilson, they're still got a nice core.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, those are the core guys for the Seahawks, and I think they'll still be a factor.
Now, who did you pick for the Soups this year?
I still had Denver and Seattle. I had Denver winning it, but I didn't realize how, injured that Peyton Manning was. Next year, I'm leaning Steelers, actually. Steelers or Ravens. I'm gonna go with the Steelers, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think because Le'Veon Bell's injury hurt the Steelers in the playoffs, and they played well at the end of the year. I think if he plays well, I think the Steelers are going to get there.
Dino, you didn't make a prediction for next year.
I can see what everybody looks like, so I'll see when everybody gets their players. I'll make a prediction.
All right.
Okay.
So you thought the Steelers could have went further if they had the back?
Yeah, but they always don't play well against the Patriots. I think that's the one team in the playoffs that the Steelers always have problems with. But I think the Steelers are going to be ready for next year. I really do.
What do you think of what's his name going to Michigan? I like
Jim
that
Harbaugh.
guy.
Yeah, he's a Michigan guy. He's going to be competing with Urban Meyer at Ohio State. It's going to be like the Bo Schembechler or Woody Hayes.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Because I think he was a great coach.
He was.
Well, not was, is a great coach. So do you think he'll get Michigan back on track?
I think he will. He had a late recruiting start, but I think next year he should have a good recruiting class.
And how about Meyer? That team is all coming back too, right?
Yep. Yeah, defending champs, and they got a great recruiting class coming in.
All right, guys, great job. And most unusual call in history. We'll have to wait till next year. And remember, kids, just don't go watch a game in the stands. Watch it on TV. Get out and participate. Stay off of alcohol and drugs. Nick the Quick signing off. See you next week.